Hey everyone, before we get this episode started, I just want to thank every single one for the support of the last 3 RetroAchievement videos. You guys seem to really enjoy these. And I want to do more, to the point that I want to give you guys an incentive to actually support the channel. So, what I am going to do is I'm going to make a special game, or I'm going to torture myself through specific hard as hell games by doing them once we reach a certain subscriber milestone. So for example, if the channel reaches 500 subscribers after we finish all 8 episodes, which the last one involves Crash Bandicoot 3, I'm going to do a full mastery of Super Mario Kart, probably one of my least favorite games on the SNES, just because of how badly it controls and how it's a cheating piece of garbage. Okay, that's a bit too harsh, but yeah, I don't like Super Mario Kart at all. And also, as a motivation, if we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will do a full mastery of Super Mario Eclipse, a ROM hack of Super Mario Sunshine that is basically the equivalent of the Mario 64 DS of Mario Sunshine, which has more content and a lot of entertaining stuff that you guys don't want to miss out. And then, if we reach 1.5k subscribers, I will do a full mastery run of The Wrath of Cortex. And that game, well, it has platinum relics, so I have to get them all. And the last incentive that I will mention is that when we reach 2,000 subscribers, I will do a full mastery of the PlayStation version of Doom, which has a whopping 215 achievements. So yeah, quite a lot. But yeah, basically that's your bit of an incentive to subscribe. And yeah, basically once we reach the 2k mark, every 1,000 subscriber milestone we reach, I will tackle another really hard game. And the big one, which will be at 10k, which will be Battle Kit for the NES. And if you're wondering what Battle Kit I'm talking about this Battle Kit. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say right now. So if you enjoyed the RetroAchievement content, make sure to subscribe and let's reach the 500 subscriber goal, and I will do a full mastery of Super Mario Kart. But yeah, with that said, enjoy this mastery of Crash Bandicoot 2. Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back is regarded by many as the best game of the series, if not the best game of the original trilogy. It took the best aspects of the first game, got rid of the annoying stuff like having to beat all the levels without dying, but also added unnecessary crap like even more backtracking than the first game. But even so, this game is praised by many, and loved by more. However, I will admit that even though my enjoyment of this game does rise every time I replay this game, similar to Tomb Raider 3, I still prefer the first game with the more simplistic gameplay and more emphasis on challenging platforming. But I will admit that there is stuff about this game that I adore, like the slide jump and some level aesthetics like the sewer and space levels. So after a nice stroll through Cyber Chase, I think it's time we give the Crash series another shot with Crash Bandicoot 2. However, if you look at this set, you may notice that this set will prepare me for the inevitable pain and suffering that Crash 3 will give me. But considering that the OG Crash 2 doesn't give you the Crash Dash like in the Insane version, this means that these time achievements will be that bad, right? Hello everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of RetroAchievement Masteries. Today, I'll be getting all 75 achievements in Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back for the original PlayStation using the RetroAchievements website, while also getting all achievements in Hardcore mode, which disables emulator features like loading save states, the use of rewind, slowdown, and emulator cheats. If you compare it to the first game, the set for Crash 2 is almost identical to the set of Crash 1, but with 3 key differences. The first one is that even though the game removed the no death rule from Crash 1 in order to get the box gems, for this set, we're basically required to destroy all boxes without dying, which might increase the difficulty in certain levels. And just to put this on record, this rule also applies for both Crash 3 and Wrath of Cortex. The second aspect is that boss challenges are practically gone, with the exception of one fight. And now we only have 4 miscellaneous achievements to gather in this set. However, the biggest inclusion of this set is that now we have time trial achievements, where we have to beat every level under a certain amount of time. something very similar to the first Sly Cooper's Master Thief sprints. However, instead of being something similar to the actual time trials we could see in Crash 3 and beyond, for this set the only challenge is to basically get to the end of the level as fast as possible, which in some regard is very similar to Crash's 1's time trial relics from the Insane trilogy, where you have to learn the level and optimize a route, which is something that I actually do enjoy, that with the exception of some levels in Wrath of Cortex, Crash 1 on the Insane trilogy is actually my favorite game to actually go for Platinum Relics. Yeah, I know, a gimmick that I say that is one of the worst things introduced into the Crash series actually gets some positive thoughts from me. Who would have thunk? That said, we will talk about the progression of this game and set as we go along. So without further delay, let's begin our next mastery with the second Crash Bandicoot game. Our story begins quite literally after Cortex's defeat back in Crash 1, where he falls down to the aisle and lands inside a cave of some sorts, only to find a new power source he never discovered.
Crystals. Of course.
However, this
Master Crystal
won't be powerful enough unless the other 25 slave crystals are reunited with it. And because Cortex and his new associate, Dr. Engine, don't have any forces left on the planet, which I'm assuming it's Earth? I actually don't know. I'm not that familiar with the Crash lore. Cortex must now rely on someone else, someone dumb enough to believe a false plan to gather crystals, someone who, as Cortex puts it,
I'm an enemy.
And so we check on Crash and a brand new character, Coco Bandicoot, who happens to be Crash's little sister. And of course, after saying that, you may be asking right now, where did Coco come from? And what happened to Tana?
That's a good question.
But none of that matters, since there are more important things to worry about, like getting a brand new battery for Coco's laptop. And so we got to, I guess, go to Crash in Coco's house, I don't know, until we get kidnapped by some mystical powers and enter the iconic warp room. Now, something that is quite funny is that if you decide to skip the intro cinematic, you will actually be teleported to the warp room, which means that you won't be able to play through the intro section. That said, this area is 100% optional. The only benefit of doing this section is to get a free Aku Aku before starting the first actual level. After being kidnapped, we get contacted by Cortex, this time being voiced by the beautiful Clancy Brown.
Well. If it isn't Crash Bandicoot.
And get told that he needs crystals for something that he will elaborate more as we collect more crystals. And as we end our conversation with Cortex, we now have 5 levels to choose from as our first level. However, for the sake of simplicity, I'll just go through every level in order, unless we need to play a future level to unlock a special colored gem. And so we begin with the first level of the game, Turtle Woods, where we can get a color gem right from the start. In order to get this gem, that being the blue gem, you have to beat the level without breaking a single box. So we want to make sure that this box counter stays at 0 until the end of the level. And considering that this is the first level, avoiding all boxes is really not that terrible. However, when we get to this point, we have an almost impenetrable wall of boxes. Now, if you're lucky, you can just jump over the wall, but the easiest and quite honestly safest way of getting past the wall is to jump on this multi-bounce crate and you'll be golden. But then we have our biggest obstacle, which are these pits where you have to defeat these gophers so that a bouncy mushroom will spawn and allows you to get out of the pit. However, if you position Crash and utilize our new slide jump, you can actually get enough height to get out of the pit without the mushroom. Alright, here we get the blue gem, and usually I would kill myself, but well, that sucks. Alright, so you're probably wondering, why did I exit the level when I was clearly at the end with the blue gem in my possession? Well, that is because I was also aiming for the time trial achievement for Turtle Woods, which requires you to beat the level in less than 1 minute and 28 seconds. And this is the point where I will explain how I'm going to master this set. So I'm going to start by saying that if you've never played Crash 2 and want to experience this set blind, I would highly recommend you just play the game normally and then focus on the time trials, which is basically how I'm going to treat Crash 3 and the rest of the Crash games in the future for a very good reason. However, what I decided to do for this set was to focus on getting everything in a level before moving on to the next stage. And because I do know this game quite well, since I grew up with this game, I'm going to focus first on getting the time trial achievements and then give focus on the box gem achievement, since there's a bit of a fault when it comes to the time trials which I will explain later. But after being yelled at by Cortex, we go back into Turtle Woods with the same objective in mind, to get both the blue gem and the time trial achievement. This time, bouncing on the multi-bounce crate and also hugging the ledges so that I can skip the pits. But after escaping the final pit by doing a well-timed spinning slide jump, which I will elaborate later on what that is, we get the blue gem and finish the level in time, giving us Shell Shock for beating the time trial and Baby Blue for acquiring our first color gem. And after being yelled by Cortex by a second time, we go into the level a third time. Third time's the charm, they say, and this time we focus on the box gem. Now, like I said at the beginning, Crash 2 improved on the first game when it comes to getting the box gem, since the no death challenge got removed for future sequels, which means that you can now get the box gem even if you die. However, because we are on a quest to master this game, we have to pretend this is still Crash 1, because in order to get 27 achievements in this set, we have to get the box gems without dying a single time. But thankfully, there is somewhat of a silver lining. Similar to Crash 1, the achievement and the challenge will not be disabled until you die after hitting the first checkpoint. So if you die a couple times before hitting the first checkpoint, you can retry the level as much as you want without exiting to the warp room. But as for Turtle Wood, this level is pretty easy, although this little extra section can be a bit tricky to get through while breaking all the boxes. But of course, to enter this area, we need to use our brand new move, the Ground Pound, which you can perform by jumping and hitting the circle button to activate it, and enter a sub-area which features a new type of hazard, the volatile green nitro crates, which will explode if you do anything funny to them. Thankfully, we have our slide jump, which can cover long distances and allow us to ignore the nitro. But then we reach this area with two ostriches, where you need to slide jump off their backs before they drop, otherwise you'll be unable to get these crates. Is something I would say, but thankfully there is a way to get up there even if the ostrich body is lowered. What you want to do is perform what I like to call a slide spin jump. And basically, to perform this, you want to do a normal slide jump. However, once you press the jump button, what you want to do is very quickly press the spin button almost at the same time to perform the slide spin jump. By performing this technique, you will increase your jump height and get to these higher ledges without the need to reset the area by dying or restarting the level. And I'm just going to say this right now, you want to make sure you master this technique, since it will be very useful and it's going to save your life in multiple locations. But once we clear the sub area, we continue down the road and enter our first bonus round. Now, unlike Crash 1, where bonus rounds are used to get 1-ups, keys for bonus levels, and ways to save our game, Crash 2 now made it so that bonus rounds are required to get the box gem in a level, which is something that would become a staple for every future Crash game that has box gems, which is honestly the better inclusion in my opinion, something that I cannot say the same for Crash 3, but don't worry, we'll get to Crash 3 soon enough. Exiting the bonus area, we continue down the road and try our best to not jump to the pits and collect our first crystal for Cortex. And if we take our time and not fumble, we'll get to the end of the level, collect our first box gem, and get Turtle Power for beating level 1. Back at the warp room, Cortex informs us that there is a force that threatens to destroy the world, and that the crystals are the only way to contain it, which gives us motivation to continue to gather crystals. Not to mention that Cortex also mentions that if you enjoy this video, you have to make sure you subscribe to the Jonathan Wolf channel, and also check the Wolf Archives channel to check the full playthrough of the Mastery. It really helps the channel and it shows that you will actually like these videos. Also, Coco tried to tell something, but yeah, it doesn't matter, which makes me ask, how the heck is she calling us when her laptop battery was fried?
That's a good question.
But moving on to level 2, we have Snow Go. And like I said earlier, we're going to focus on the time trial achievement and then get the box gem. For Snow Go's achievement, we have to beat this level in less than a minute and 25 seconds. However, while trying to get the speedrun achievement, the game begins to realize who's playing this game. If I die, it's not the end of the world. Like that, see? That's that is exactly what I meant. If I die in a stupid way like that. I'll get you shortly. And there it is. 2 deaths in level 2. That is awesome. So after that beautiful death and me getting stuck on a box, we go back to the warp room due to me being hasty, and then we go into a more challenging aspect of the time trial achievements. Similar to the time trials we will suffer through Crash 3, we basically have to go through the entire level without dying, which means that if you hit a checkpoint and die, you will not only fail the deathless run, but also if you reload to a checkpoint, you will fail the time trial achievement and have to reset the level. Which means that if you want to master all time trial achievements in this game, you have to make sure you never hit a checkpoint. Now yes, you can hit checkpoints, but as long as you don't die, you're golden. And the reason I recommend you never get a checkpoint is because if you fail the time trial, you can just die and just go back to the beginning of the level without needing to exit the warp room, wasting time. But after getting a call from Brio where he pretty much admits that he will prevent us from getting crystals, we go back to Snow-Go and attempt the time trial again and manage to beat it on our third attempt, giving us Snowfalls. And so we go back into this winter wonderland to get both the crystal and the box gem. But as a bonus, I did try to get the red gem early, since you have to go through an alternate way to acquire the red gem. Not to mention that unlike the Insane trilogy where they move the gem up the shaft, you can get it in the OG version with a very specific slide spin jump combined with a ground pound. What you need to do is spin as you drop into the bounce crate so that you stop bouncing and stand on the block. Then you want to hug the front wall, and then you have to perform a very specific slide spin jump from the bounce crate. However, once you pull the slide jump, you need to try to get underneath the red gem and then perform a ground pound, because doing a ground pound will actually move Crash up a little bit. And this technique is very precise because in the best case scenario, you will barely get the ruby. And considering that I was able to do this in my third attempt during my original playthrough of this game, here I thought it was going to be the same, but my god, I could not pull this jump for the life of me. To the point that I accidentally fell into this hole not once, not twice, but 3 different times while trying to get this dumb red rock. However, when I went to the level on my 4th attempt, I had a thought while playing the level. You see, in this game, whether it's the OG or the Insane version, I always use the R1 button to do the slide or ground pound moves. But when starting the game and testing out the controls, I realized that R1 didn't activate the slide. Oh, wait a minute. No. Is circle really the only slide button? Oh crap. But wait, I thought that in this version you can also slide with the R1 button. Okay, yeah, there's no R1 for slide. Oh man, that's gonna throw me off. That's really gonna throw me off. Alright. So I went through Turtle Woods and the time trial of Snow-Go while using the circle for the slide, which I never use because it feels so awkward for me. No, I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I thought I could, but I can't. It's like, not being able to press R1 is very distracting to me. Oh my god. Oh my god. It feels so weird not being able to what's the word? It feels so weird not being able to slide with R1. That's so weird. That is really weird. God, I can't... I'm gonna complain about this for the entire set, but I hate that I cannot slide with R1. It's like, the triggers are completely useless. But as I started my 4th attempt and going for the Snow-Go box gym again, a funny thought came into my head. Wait a minute. Settings. Would it be funny that my R1... You're seeing it, right? It says here that my R1 button is not mapped. You know what? At the very least, I'm glad I checked, because if I went through the entire game not knowing that somehow I turned off or I demapped the R1 button, I was going to flip. I was going to fucking flip. Oh my god. Oh man. Okay, I'll admit that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. So I'm gonna be real with you. I have no idea why my R1 key was not mapped, Maybe something happened when I was updating Duck Station, which is what I use for PS1 Masteries for this series. But you know what? At the very least, I found out about this little bug and didn't go through the entire game having this mental battle that R1 does nothing. So thank God for that. So with that little side quest completed, we give up on getting the red gem and continue our way through the level, which is really simple when it comes to getting all the boxes. But after you exit this 2D cave, we make sure you would go back and hit this green exclamation box, which will destroy all nitro crates, and make sure you hold the jump button on this bounce crate to go higher and hit a hidden exclamation box that will reveal these crates so you can finish the level and get the box gem, and because we did it deathless, we will get Buried in the Snow. Moving on to level 3, we have Hang 8, which has a bonus gem that we can get if we make it to the end before this timer reaches 0. And what surprised me the most about this level, and to an extent a future level that has this same gimmick, believe it or not, the time trial achievement was super generous for this one, because the time you need to get the achievement is 1 minute and 48 seconds. But since I went for the speedrun gem as well, I managed to get Surfer Stomp with 41 seconds to spare. The best strategy for this level is to just boost as much as you can and slow down for the mines. But if you manage to get the bonus gem, you basically got the time trial achievement in the back, no problem. And as for the box gem, you want to do the same thing as the speed run, but you can now take your time, but also make sure you tackle the bonus round, of course. And also, this level has our first color gem trial that will take you to a more challenging area where we need to do some intense platforming, avoid mines and nitros, and boost through these ramps to destroy all boxes. Which means that if you didn't get the blue gem on Turtle Woods, you cannot get the box gem. But other than that, another easy level that we can complete on our first try and get Catch a Wave. Finishing things up, we have another call from Cortex giving us compliments for getting 3 crystals, and that he will call us again once we get 5 crystals in the warp room, which means that it's time to move to level 4, the pits, where we have a time target of 1 minute and 57 seconds. However, just like the other levels, this level is pretty easy to do the time trial. For this level, I decided to go to the right in this fork on the road. However, I am almost positive that both paths take the same amount of time to complete. And once both paths converge, we have to deal with the titular pits that we can avoid the same way as we did in the ones from Turtle Woods. But after escaping the last pit, we can make it to the end with 27 seconds to spare and get Hole to Feed. And as for the box gem, this is our first level where we need to do some backtracking. Yay! Unlike the backtracking from Crush 1, which was not that annoying, the backtracking in this game is somehow even worse. So basically what you want to do is you want to play the level normally, and when we get the junction, you want to head to the left path first. You may have noticed that while doing the right path for the time trial, we saw some box outlines, but no exclamation box. That is because the exclamation box is located on the left path. Not to mention that the crystal is also located on the left path, so if you just want to beat the game, take the left path. But once we collect our jewel and hit the exclamation box, it's backtracking time. And my biggest advice for backtracking in these games is to take your time. You're not on a timer, so don't rush it for no reason. But once we return to the junction, we go through the right path and break all the boxes, and then it's a clear shot to the end, giving us another box gem, as well as the achievement, Down in the Hole. And with that, we only have one more level in Warp Room 1, which is our titular chase level, Crash Dash, where we have a target time of 1 minute and 56 seconds. Thankfully, because this is a chase level, getting to the end is relatively easy and should be no problem. It's something I wish I can say with confidence, but remember, it's me who's playing this game. Okay, I believe after this we have the electric fence. Okay, yeah, we're at the end. Oh my god, I just jumped right into the thing. So after that amazing showcase, we managed to get to the end of the level after doing a spectacular time-wasting dive. And usually the secret exits are not at the end of the level, so to speak. And yeah, that's the die that I was talking about. And get Mad Dash Melody with 20 seconds to spare. And as for the box gem, unlike boulders from Crash 1, where you have to break the boxes, in Crash 2, the boulder is now programmed to be able to destroy boxes that are on its path, which includes these nitros. However, not every box will be destroyed by the boulder, as you need to manually destroy these last set of boxes, since the boulder will bounce over the boxes when hitting the electric fence. Okay, so now we gotta be... Well, we gotta die first, but also we have to be fast on this. We gotta be careful on this one because... But after that silly fail later, we get to the end and manage to destroy all boxes before this giant snowball catches up to us. Ah! Wow. We got it. Giving us the box gem as well as dash along and for collecting all clear gems in Warp Room 1. Once we get these achievements, Cortex will contact us warning that some strong enemies will try to ambush us when going to the next warp room by using the platform at the center of the room. But because we're a badass and we don't care, not to mention that Crash is a dumbass, we take it anyway and engage with our first boss of the game, Ripper Roo, who now became a gentleman of the highest class. I mean, look at that suit. It's so classy. I love it. Unlike Crash 1, Roo is a bit easier since this fight is all about positioning yourself in the arena as Roo creates TNT tiles, only to have them blow up on his face, revealing that this crazy kangaroo is crazy to the bone. That said, his craziness gives him the power to summon nitro tiles that will instantly blow up if you touch them. And just like the TNT phase, wait for Roo to trigger the nitros and then go for the hit while he's stunned. Repeat the process 2 more times, with the third TNT wave being very close quarters, and you'll defeat this crazy gentleman for the second time and get insane in the brain and move on to Warp Room 2. Entering Warp Room 2, Cortex tells us that all 13 planets will soon align, giving confirmation that this game does not take place in our solar system, but he also tells us that the energy that the alignment will create can be harnessed for good with the crystals, which Cortex confirms the exact number being 25, even though we can see the total on the pause screen. And after getting a warning from Coco, I go for an easy achievement in the second warp room, where we have to commit some animal abuse on this cute polar bear in order to get 10 lives. But as I'm getting the 1-ups, something interesting happens. I mean, unless you count the sun, even though the sun is a star, I have no idea where he got 4 other planets. Whatever. Alright, let's do some animal abuse. There's nothing great like animal abuse. And why did I get... Huh? Wait, I only got 5? So as you saw by this clip, I only got 5 1-ups instead of the usual 10. But what happened? Why did I get less lives than usual? Well, I had to put the clip again, but Dr. Light?
That's a good question.
So yeah, this is something that I just simply cannot explain, especially considering that in all of my playthroughs of Crash 2, remake or original, I have never experienced this bug in my entire life. In fact, according to the comments in the achievement, this is apparently an emulator quirk which may explain why it is. But even when I play this game on emulator casually, whether it's DuckStation or RetroArch, it's never happened to me before. I always get the 10 1-ups. However, because I didn't get the 10 lives, and this polar bonus is a one-time only reward, this basically means that I softlock myself from getting the achievement, which means that I had to do a second playthrough of the game, which is something that I was going to do at the beginning of the next session. So starting Warp Room 2 for real this time, I decided to take a detour and head over to level 7, Air Crash, since Snowbiz requires the red gem in order to get the box gem, which we do not have. Now thankfully, Air Crash can actually give us the red gem, because Air Crash is our first level where we can actually get a secret exit and get access to the secret warp room that will allow us to get some extra gems in certain levels, but also allow us to play the 2 extra bonus levels that don't have a crystal but possess some gems. In order to get the secret exit, what you want to do is play until you reach the first checkpoint of the level, and instead of riding the jet board, what you want to do is you want to do a slide jump and bounce on these boxes so you can make it to this lone platform and get teleported to the secret warp room, which unlocks new levels depending on the secret exits you got, which is something very similar to the new Super Mario Bros. Game, which is something pretty cool. I actually kind of like that. Also, as you can see, once I took the secret exit, you will notice that Air Crash time trial was considered as failed. And that is because in order to get the time trial achievements, you are not allowed to take alternate exits for the achievement. You have to get to the normal exit of the level in order for the achievement to count. which is something that also applies to the time trials in the Insane version of Crash 2. Now that being said, this only applies to the time trials, because if you take a secret exit while getting the box gem, the achievement for getting the box gem without dying will count, which is a godsend because this will basically save us from doing a third playthrough just to get a secret exit. So the secret exit of Air Crash will unlock an alternate entrance to Snow Go, which will allow us to get the red gem the legit way. And once we head into Snow Go, we have to beat this challenging course and deal with ice physics that are not that terrible, but can lead to cheap deaths because of a fatal flaw. Yeah, one thing you gotta be careful is the fact that if you have momentum and you face a block, you will keep that momentum. So as you can see, you may notice by the overlay, I was not moving, but when I jumped, I was still moving. I still moved to the right. Why did I jump? Okay, this jump sucks. This is one of the worst jumps in the game. Because yeah, you need to essentially land on the metal crate, otherwise you're going to die. And red gem. So after getting the red gem, we make it to the end so that we can actually truly collect the red gem and get Akatokuro, which will complete the first warp room 100%. And then we can truly begin warp room 2 with the first proper level, level 6, Snowbiz. Starting with the time trial, this one is relatively easy, and one thing I forgot to bring up is that if you're struggling with the time trial achievements, I highly recommend you enter level with at least a gold Akuaku mask, so that in some cases, you can just abuse the invincibility and get past certain hazards with ease. Not to mention that the wooden crashers will not go down while you're invincible. But besides that, we get to the end on our first try with 15 seconds to spare and achieve Angel in the Snow. And as for the box gem, we have to make sure we ride the red gem platform since it contains boxes for the box gem. This color gem trial is more tricky than the blue trial from Hang 8, but there are some things to be wary of. First, we have these hedgehogs that will spike up when they see you, and while they have their spikes up, they are impervious to any damage besides invincibility. But all you need to do is either wait it out, or if you're fast enough, spin them away before they start moving while their spikes are out, because they will not have iframes unless they start moving. And then we also have these crushers that require you to slide under them, otherwise they will get you. And as a rule of thumb, if you want to cross the crushers, make sure the crusher goes all the way back up before crossing it, otherwise something like this will happen to you. These stone crushers, which they will go down as soon as you cross them. But besides these two aspects, this color trial is not that bad. But this is an area where learning about the slide jump is mandatory if you want to clear these jumps at the end. And once back in the normal level, we just have to make sure to not ride the red platform again and make it to the end while breaking everything and claim our next achievement, Snowflakes. Moving on to Air Crash for the second time, unfortunately we cannot get the box gem for this level yet, but we can get the time trial achievement by beating the level in less than 1 minute and 42 seconds. However, I made a mistake in this level. After finishing the first jetboard section, you may notice that there is this platform with a skull on it. This is called a death route platform, which you can only access if you make it to this point without dying. Now here's the thing, there is a gem at the end of the route, but there's also an alternate exit. And remember when I said when it comes to time trials and other exits that is not the normal exit? Oh, okay. That's it. Okay, we got it. Nice. Oh my god, that didn't count. That didn't count. Okay. Alright. Sure. I'll play the level again. Whatever you say, video game. Okay. Fine, whatever. So yeah, I did not know it, and I decided to beat the death route and use the alternate exit. So I entered the level for a third time, and go through the level normally and avoid the mines and nitro, only to get to the end and get country air with 23 seconds to spare. And also, I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up, get used to revisiting Air Crash, because this is not the last time we'll go through this level, trust me on that. So because we can't get the box gem in Air Crash, we move on to the next level, Bear It, our first animal riding level, where instead of riding a wild pig, we ride on a cute polar bear named Polar. Originality, ladies and gentlemen. So these levels are quite interesting because if you play your cards right, you can actually get both the time trial and the box of achievements in one go. Which for the former, you want to make sure you boost by pressing either the circle button or the R1 button at every opportunity possible. But you also want to make sure you jump so that you can actually gain some distance. But also have the boost recharged by the time you hit the ground, so that you can perform another boost in a row. Which explains why I do this all the time. And also, to prove that you can get both achievements, I decided to be a stubborn son of a bitch and try to get both achievements. Now, I'm just gonna say this right now. Don't do it, because you're going to hate this level by... Thank you, game, for lagging. But I'm gonna be the most stubborn son of a bitch you can possibly imagine and try to get at least this one. At least in this level. Unfortunately, I'm not doing a very good job. And you cannot just spam it. It's not like Pura from Crash 3 where... I'm dead. Yep. It's not like Pura where you can just sprint from beginning to end, so... Alright, moment of truth. Am I gonna get a pity checkpoint? Because... yeah, I remember... Like, Pity Aku Aku will take it, but... Man, the pity checkpoint is honestly the absolute worst. And... the fact that I got a pity checkpoint in freaking Crash... in the Crash 3 Let's Play... Oh my god, that was so bad. Oh my god, okay. What is a hitbox? I love it. No, I'm not gonna try it with the second bear level because I need to play the level twice because there's a secret exit. One thing I can guarantee you is that I am not doing that. I am not trying to get both on the third bear level. Totally bear? No, you gotta be you gotta call me you gotta be stupid. You gotta be dumb enough to actually try that out because I tried, and my god, I got destroyed by that level. I did it again. Oh, just because the controls are just so off. Then again, it's ice physics, and I'll say right now, water levels not the worst gimmick in video games. Ice physics are always and will always be my least favorite gimmick in a video game. And I will not hear otherwise. And in case you want to know, second place is escort missions because escort missions are the fucking worst. I should know. I played Resident Evil 4, the original, and it was and escorting Ashley was absolutely miserable. Although to be fair, she's not that annoying, but there is problems. Also, yeah, I'm not boosting enough. Okay, fine, we'll get the thing. We'll get the time trial. Although, because Crash takes a while to get up, I'm probably not gonna get it. We get six seconds left. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Okay. You see? Look at that. I would have gotten it. I would have actually gotten both, but I missed that one box. That is so annoying. My goodness gracious. So after that incredible fail right at the end of the damn level, we get Running Bear for beating the level in less than 1 minute and 26 seconds, and then go again to get the box gem, giving us Going on a Bear Hunt. Up next is our second chase level, Crash Crush, where we have a time trial goal of 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And just like Crash Dash, this level is pretty simple. I remember spaced out to be... Just make sure you avoid the mines and slide through the electric gates, and we'll achieve Ready, Set, Roll with 8 seconds to spare. And as for the box gem, this one is also very simple, although there are 2 points in the level that can be tricky to pull off. After the first boulder, we have a detour where we have to do a slide jump so that we can go under this electric fence, but then jump over the bottomless pit. And I, for the life of me, have always struggled with this jump, mainly due to depth perception. Thankfully, I managed to clear the jump on my first try and continue on with the level. And the final hard point is at the literal end of the level. Similar to Crash Dash, where you have to waste some time breaking blocks at the end, we want to make sure we get as much distance from the boulder as possible. and you can actually do that by not hitting the mines and getting all of these dash panels. And once we get to the end, we're gonna see 4 boxes. However, one of them is a brand new reinforced crate, which we have seen in bonus rounds. However, now we have to deal with one while being on a timer, because in order to destroy these boxes, the only way to do so is by performing a ground pound, which takes a lot of time to do. However, if you manage to get a lot of distance from the boulder, you will actually make it no problem, giving us the box gem as well as rolling rock. And after that very close call with a snowball, we move on to the final level of Warp Room 2, the Eel Deal, where the time trial for this level is honestly one of the easiest time trials of the set. After the first checkpoint, we will see a junction in the sewer, and for this one, we want to follow the Wumpa Fruit and go to the left. And after some time, we will get to another junction where we want to ignore the Wumpa Fruit and head to the right. And besides these 2 junctions, the level is pretty much straightforward, making it to the end of the level with 28 seconds to spare and achieve Electric Shock. So as for the box gem, we do want to be alert because as you can see by the menu, this level also contains a green gem. However, if I want to beat this level with both gems, I have to perform some serious backtracking and platforming skills in order to pull it off. At the first junction, you want to head to the right this time and head into the wall at the back of the room since it's an illusory wall, which will take us to a small challenge area where we can get the green gem at the end of this little trial. However, because we want to get achievements, I decided to do something I've never done in many playthroughs, and that is to backtrack the way I came. Because usually, once you get either the crystal or any type of gem, if you die and reload to the checkpoint, you will actually keep the crystal, which makes getting to secret exits and other gems not that big of a problem. However, because we're doing an achievement of not dying, we have to do the long run, which honestly for this one is not that bad, but it's still a bit of a time waster. Also, I want to go on a rant. How did people found out that this was an illusory wall? People really had a lot of time to spare to find these secrets. But once we acquire the green gem and backtrack the way we came, we continue on with the level. And once we get to the second junction, we want to follow the Wumpa Fruit this time, since it not only leads to more boxes, but it'll also allow you to collect the crystal of the level, which, in case it wasn't obvious, you need to beat the game. And once we get all the boxes, we hang our way to the end and get Electric Feel for getting the box gem, as well as Emerald Labyrinth for collecting our 3rd colored gem. So after getting all the crystals, we move on to the boss of Warp Room 2, the Komodo Bros, who hold the title as probably the easiest boss in Crash Bandicoot, especially considering that most of their attacks are stupid easy to avoid. The only thing that can be kind of hard is that if you touch the scimitars even when they're on the ground, they will still count as a hitbox and you will take damage. But oh wait, it gets even worse, because I'm pretty sure Naughty Dog thought that this boss was going to be so impossible to the point that they give you not a normal Aku Aku, but a golden Aku Aku, which is the only boss in the entire game that gives you Aku Aku. However, once we avoid Komodo Joe and Komodo Bros, spins and scimitars, we can knock them into each other and defeat this joke of a boss and get Blood Brothers by finishing the second boss. Alright, this is taking a bit too much. Let's speed things up. Starting Warp Room 3, we get congratulated by Cortex and continue our search for the
well-hidden crystal.
As we begin level 11, Plant Food, where we have a yellow gem available for grabs. However, this gem is very similar to the extra gem from Hang 8, where we need to make it to the end of the level before the time runs out. But unlike Hang 8, this level is much more difficult, especially considering the fact that you are forced to have an Aku Aku mask by the end section, otherwise trying to get past these plants is absolutely impossible. But once we make it through the gap, we will make it to the end and collect not only the yellow gem, as well as Golden Sneer, but also manage to get the Green River Time Trial achievement with 30 seconds to spare? Okay then, now for the box gem, and just like the other water levels, the box gem is not that bad. Although we do have some daredevilish runs with these whirlpools where you will instantly die if you touch the black middle. But besides that, we make some cool jump combos from TNT into plants, or how the timer works when it comes to the... Okay then. I said we defeat these plants in style, and before we ride the third jet board, make sure to clear the way for the future, but also get these boxes as well, so we can make it to the end and claim Bridge Over Troubled Water. Next up we have Sewer or Later, and this is the first level where I had a really hard time with the time trial achievement, to the point that this is honestly the first of 3 levels where the time trial achievement is very strict with the time. The time for this level is 1 minute and 6 seconds, and if you don't play your cards right, this one can be very brutal, to the point that the comments of the achievement suggest that you enter the level with at least a golden Aku Aku. However, I decided to try it out, and I will say that in some aspects this might be possible without an early Aku Aku. But besides that, you also need to keep in mind that we also have these fan blades that, unless you have invincibility, it is impossible to get to the end within the time limit. Okay, that was definitely a hitbox. Is this the level that is going to give me a pity? Oh my god. Okay, shut up. Okay, and let's do option 2 then. Okay, no. Let's do a legit run, people. Okay. I could just iframe my way to the end. Or I can do that. Okay, yeah, I was thinking on the moment, and oh my god. Yeah, I'm not getting it. Okay, I'm gonna do the second option. But after some fails, I decided to go for the box gem first, so that when I re-enter the level, I would have an Aku Aku. But the level just decided to screw with me and deny me that wish. I don't want to find out, so there you go. Oh, crap. I am dead, yep. No! Alright, screw it, let's just... So what I did instead is get the extra gem by riding the yellow gem platform, and I just tried to finish the level with at least 1 Aku Aku mask. So yeah, I got the thing. And now I gotta... Well, so much for having Aku... Oh my god. What the hell am I doing? Oh, man. Okay. Oh my god. What am I doing? Here, just kill me. Okay, I did not... And eventually, I managed to get it. And also, I gave the time trial another shot. I'm gonna focus on the time trial. And what I'm gonna do is, if I fail, I'm gonna grab 2 Aku Akus and then I'm gonna exit the level. Because yeah, if you exit the level with Aku Akus, you will actually have them on your next visit. Also, it seems that the eels are synchronized. All right, so let's go and move it. Go. 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 Ah! Oh man, that was awesome. And so we go for the box gem, and after all the attempts with the time trial, I have this level engraved in my brain. However, once we reach this junction, you want to head to the right first and hit this exclamation box so that it spawns boxes on the other direction, which also contains the crystal. And after a botched slide, we get to the end and finally get the Sewer of the Strand. But now we move on to the second bear level, Bear Down. And this level has what it is, in my opinion, the hardest time trial achievement of the game. The time required for this achievement is 1 minute and 31 seconds. And just like the previous bear level, you want to make sure you boost at every opportunity possible. And for this level, I went for the time trial and box gem separately, since we have to replay this level again because there's actually a secret exit. So we just focus on the time trial first. And I'm not gonna lie, this one was brutal. Especially considering the fact that my biggest mistake was doing a boost jump at the wrong time, which most of the times led to my death. Oh! Oops. It's not gonna be enough. You have to do the jump to gain distance. It's kind of similar to doing like a slide jump. I'm dead. So now we gotta be careful when it comes to the position of the boxes here. And you didn't boost crash. What are you doing? Okay then. I'm dead. Yep. Oh my god, what the hell happened there? I mean, I bounced on the crate, but I did not even know that was even a thing. I'm dead. You see, that's a problem, that you can do stuff in... Okay. Oh, damn it. Oh. But after 13 minutes, a failed attempt because I gave up in the most dumb way possible. Oh my god, it's not enough. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's 31? No! I thought it was 26. I thought it was 26. Oh my god. You know what the worst part of this is? If I didn't stop, I would have probably gotten it. And also, one of the worst things that can possibly happen, getting a pity checkpoint. I finally got it. Wow. I want to know how long it took. I've been in this level. Good lord. Oh, that was a waste. So yeah, the reason I jump is because by the time you touch the ground, your boost has already charged up again. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Okay. I think we have a faster time. Yes, we do. I think. Yes! 1:30 on the dot. Yes! Oh my god. Wow. That was hard. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty hard. And as for the box gem, we just redo the level. However, after collecting the box gem, I backtrack outside and make my way to this platform on the cold water, so that I can actually get to a secret exit and warp to the secret warp room while getting the Paddington Bear achievement. Going back to the secret area, we have an alternate entrance to Air Crash. And this is where we can get the box gem for this level. And similar to Snow Go, you have to complete a small challenge to go back to the normal path. However, unlike Snow Go that leaves you midway through the level, once you complete this route, you'll be teleported at the beginning of the level. But as for the level itself, it's really not that hard, although once you get to the final jetboard section, make sure you slide jump to these platforms to destroy some boxes before riding the board. And also be careful with these jumps that have mine waiting for you on the other side. But after some careful aquatic navigation, we get the box gem, the achievement, as well as transparent for collecting all clear gems in Warp Room 2. Once we clear the snow area, we move over to Road to Ruin, one of the easier levels in this game, especially for being a level that is literally at the halfway point of the game. For this level, the first thing I went for was the extra gem for beating the death route. And after collecting the gem, I fell into the endless void, considering that I was 1 second away after beating the damn thing, and decided to go for the time trial achievement and the crystal, since you cannot get the box gem in this level. Actually, no, that's a lie. You can actually get the box gem, however, in order for you to actually get the remaining boxes, you have to do a very specific slight spin jump over here to the left side and cross this large gap. However, I'm just gonna wait and show you the correct path just for the sake of it. We'll be fine. Oh my god, I got burned. I got burned! Monkey. Oh, I knew it! I knew it! Oh, I knew it! Oh! Nice. Nice jump there, Crash. And because we cannot get the box gem, this means that we move on to Unbearable, the final level of Warp Room 3, as well as the final chase level of the game. However, this time, with a twist. Instead of running away from a giant snowy ball, we instead run away from giant demonic-looking bears. Now, as for the time trial, we need to beat this level in under 2 minutes and 49 seconds. And after a couple of fumbles... Oh! I saved myself. Also, wait. Okay, yeah, I can go back if I blow my butt. But I cannot do that if I, you know, that. Okay, fine. Oh god, we can boost. Okay, yeah, I don't want to boost. Ah! Oh. Oh no! We managed to get to the end and get Nasmi Dogonyat. I have no idea what that means. And we managed to get the achievement with 48 seconds to spare. Jesus Christ. And as for the box gem, you want to make sure that after the bear falls down the abyss by destroying the bridge, make sure you follow him for a secret area where we have to deal with some hunter scientists. And in this area, we do have some Aku-Akus, which will be beneficial for us for iframes. Although I would recommend that before you head down into that area, continue on with the level and hit this nitro detonator switch to destroy the nitros that you have to avoid while dodging slow moving bullets to make the second half of this area a bit more easy. But after some fantastic deaths and a very stupid one, or when you escape from a boulder, I guess I should specify. I was paying attention to the thing instead of the other thing, and we say goodbye to Aku-Aku because God forbid we try to use iframes in a chase level and get to the end while getting all boxes, but just like Bear Down, after grabbing the gem, I decided to backtrack by slide jumping through the gap until I get to Polar and get teleported to the secret warp room once again, and also get Dangerous and Moving. And so we go to the secret warp room where our level this time is our first bonus level, Totally Bare, which is our third and final Polar level. Now before tackling this level, I would recommend you save your game in the secret warp room, because unlike the Insane version, the only way to access the secret warp room in the original is by taking a secret exit, no matter which one. And the reason I recommend you save is that once you get the time trial achievement, you can just reset the game and go for the box gem. However, because I didn't save and quitting the level will boot me back to Warp Room 3, I essentially have to warp back to the secret warp room to get the box gem. So funny enough, if you check the achievements for Totally Bare, you will notice that the time trial is worth only 10 points while the box gem is worth 25, even though I would consider that the time trial is much more difficult. Now, I haven't brought up points yet in this series, but TLDR, points are a way to determine how challenging an achievement is. So the higher the point value, the harder the achievements, with 25 pointers being bronze, 50 being silver, and even 100 being gold. Although 100-point achievements are very rare, and when they do show up, they are without question some of the hardest achievements. So I guess you could consider it to be a not platinum, maybe? I I don't know, this is a very bad analogy. However, just like the PlayStation trophies, sometimes the point value does not match the challenge in question, to the point that some achievements worth 50 points are incredibly easy to get. Not to mention that sometimes they can be incredibly trollish. Now, even though I'm saying this, let me just be clear that I'm not complaining. Especially considering the fact that not everyone is an expert at specific video games. But at the end of the day, I just find it funny, that's all. But as for the time trial for Totally Bare, the time for this achievement is 1 minute and 19 seconds. And just like the Platinum Relic in the remake, this time trial is also a pain in the ass to get. However, I will say that in some regards, this version is much harder because of the more obscure draw distance. But my biggest advice for this time trial is to not boost at every opportunity, since if you boost at the wrong time, you will not have a boost for the jumps that require a boosted jump. If I remember correctly, there's no scientists with boxes. Oh, there probably are, but I'm just forgetting because I don't come back to this level. This level sucks. In fact, I'll even say that this level is the hardest platinum in the Insane trilogy, or the Insane version. And the biggest issue is the fact that it's not the jumps, but it's the fact that you can't see a damn thing. Okay, I believe that's the last checkpoint. Okay, yeah, there they are. Oh my god. Why were you in the wall? Why did you gravitate towards the wall? Polar. I'm blaming Polar. I'm not blaming Crash. Okay, so now I got the... Oh! Oh! I don't know where I'm going. No! But after a whopping 7 minutes and a couple of attempts, we make it to the end with 2 seconds remaining and get Dark Horse. Oh! Oh, yes, I did it. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank Christ. Okay, we did it. And as for the box gem, we go back to Air Crash after talking to Cortex, and then take the secret exit at the beginning. And the good thing about this level is that the box placement is really not that terrible. Really not that terrible. Good wording there, John. The only hard part I can think of is this section where you need to boost jump from the left side to get a better shot at these boxes in the ice. But overall, we make it to the end and collect Rise and Shine Ursine in our very first attempt. And so we move on to Warp Room 3, and here we get the introduction of Tiny Tiger, one of my favorite characters in the Crash series.
Crash, I really am cross with you.
No, not you. Get out of here, you freak. And for this boss, we have to lure Tiny into the platforms that are about to fall so that he smartly decides to Wile E. Coyote his way towards us and fall into the endless void. Just repeat the process 3 times, with the 3rd time having some platforms fall early, and we can defeat this cat and achieve Tiger in a Spotlight, finishing Warp Room 3, and also finish the first session of my Crash Bandicoot 2 Mastery. Now, before I started Session 2, I very quickly replayed through the game again, making my way to Warp Room 2 so that I can get the Polar 1-up achievement. And to guarantee that I don't have to do another playthrough, I saved the game the moment I took control of Crash after defeating Ripperoo. Thankfully, when starting the next recording session, I was able to get Most Miserable Life on my first go. And after claiming that achievement, it was now time to begin Session 2 by starting Warp Room 4. Starting things off, we have Hanging Out, where we have a time trial goal of 1 minute and 50 seconds. And this one is very doable. But because it's me who's playing the game... Okay, this is the last part of the level. Oh, what the heck happened? Ah, I tried. And wow. No car spawning. Damn it. And... Ooh. Oh man, that was close. And no, you cannot squeeze through it. Okay, so we have to do the thing. And no, it's the eel deal. Sooner or later, that's the one. Oh, nice. I was too fast. Or in the second bear riding level. I mean, I guess you could call it the bear level, because... Also, yeah, it's been so long since I've tried to... I did it again. Ever since, because again, I straight up do not like the time trials. I've said this many times, and I'm gonna say it again, which can happen. Okay, I'm gonna play it safe. Because maybe there is a, oh, this is the end. Go. No, don't get stuck. Yes! Wait, what was the time? 150. So we got 13 seconds to spare. Nice. Which means we now move to the box gym. And out of all the sewer levels, I would say that this is the easiest of the three. And that's mainly because there are no branching paths in the sewer system, and all of the boxes are in plain sight. That said, the one part that can be annoying is this final section in the bonus round, where we have to time yourself in these multi-bound crates. But if you're good with timing, this part is not that bad. But the upper boxes can screw you up if not careful. However, once we grab the box gem, instead of finishing the level, we backtrack where the crystal was and go to the other side of this body of water so that we can find a secret opening that will lead us to a secret exit. And in this hanging section, we want to press the circle button to raise Crash's legs so that we can avoid taking damage from these robots. However, just watch. And this part is the only time in the game where pressing circle is actually mandatory, because you'll actually crouch and you'll actually avoid these robots. Okay then, that was definitely a thing. But after that funny fumble, we go back to the secret warp room and tackle our second bonus level, Totally Fly. Now, Totally Fly is a very interesting level, because it follows the same gimmick as the dark levels from Crash 1, those being lights out and fumbling in the dark. However, unlike Crash 1, where you need to rely on Aku Aku as your source of light, in Crash 2, and to an extent Crash 3 and Wrath of Cortex, we have to rely on these fireflies that will light our way when we interact with them. And just like Aku Aku, these bugs are on a timer, as when the timer runs out, they'll just fly away, leaving you in the dark. That said, compared to Lights Out and especially Fumbling in the Dark, these levels are stupid easy, to the point that you can just beat these levels by just pressing forward for the entirety of the level, which makes the time trial achievement one of the easiest in the game. About the oh my god, okay. And I believe this is the last firefly. Yes, it is. Alright. So let's go and get it to the end. However, for the box gem, this level can be tricky, and that's mainly due to one section in particular. During the final stretch, after completing the bonus round, you will come up to this portion that has 6 reinforced crates, where the only way to destroy them is by performing a ground pound. And the firefly that is next to the crates will go away if you destroy the crates, which will leave you in the dark when performing some jumps over the abyss. So what you want to do is ignore the firefly and go into the black void and destroy the reinforced crates. You know if you're near when you hear this sound, when you spin on them. But after that quick section, it's just a simple path to the end where you will get Firefly and little secret for getting both clear gems in the secret warp room. Now you may be thinking that because I got the time trial and box gem achievements, we can continue on to warp room 4, right? Well, it turns out that the fly levels have actually a third achievement, where you need to beat the stages without using a firefly. And these achievements can be very difficult because, unlike the dark levels from the first game, the level layout is more complex instead of just being a straight tight hallway. However, the silver lining to these achievements is that unlike the time trial and box gem achievements, dying and reloading to a checkpoint will not disable the achievement. However, if you accidentally pick a firefly and reload the checkpoint, the achievement will be disabled. So essentially, you have to try to beat the level in one go without getting a single firefly if you want to get checkpoints. Now, of course, you can try to beat the level without checkpoints and without getting fireflies, but I do not recommend that because it can be hard. Now, there is a very easy way to get these achievements, which the obvious one is to just look up a video guide on the level normally and just try to copy the movements while having points of references like these mushrooms or architecture you can see on the sides. You can also walk alongside the borders of the map and just wiggle your way to the end. However, I'm a hardcore gamer and I decided to do it the legit way. Now, originally, I was gonna write down some notes in a spreadsheet so that I can guide myself through the level, but in a surprising twist that would make Shyamalan go,
What a twist!
I completely forgot that I actually made a spreadsheet myself for these levels when I first mastered this game back in 2022, as well as the dark level from Crash 3 because, spoilers, there's actually an achievement for doing it without using the fireflies. And basically this spreadsheet shows easy steps on beating these levels without using the fireflies. And basically for this and the second dark level, I'll go on a step-by-step process on getting both gems, no problem. At the start of the level, there's going to be a pit that you can see with the light. Jump over it and continue straight until you collect 3 Wumpa fruits. Once you collect all 3 Wumpa, you want to spin because there's going to be a rat in front of you. Once you hear the sound of killing the rat, which is basically a ricochet noise, you want to slide spin jump to the left. After this, you want to jump straight next to this mushroom duo you see. After the next firefly, you want to collect 6 Wumpa fruit, and then you want to slide jump to the left. The next portion, you want to break the boxes and slide spin jump next to this mushroom on the left to avoid the nitro crates. Then jump over the pit and hit the first checkpoint. After avoiding the first saucer, get him off screen and then you want to slide spin jump to the right. Now before the first UFO, there's going to be a pit. So jump while going past him and then you want to move to the left. You want to jump and aim for this mushroom and then stick to the right. After this point, it is a straight path until the 4th UFO. After the UFO section, you want to jump to the left from this mushroom bunch. Then jump past this lonely mushroom, because there's a pit located where the mushroom is. In this section with the 2 UFOs, you want to jump to the right while avoiding the second UFO. After collecting 3 Wumpa fruit, go left and then hit the second and final checkpoint. Now, if it wasn't obvious, for the love of God, do not go into the bonus round because it will be automatically a failure. Then you want to defeat 2 lizards, and then you want to jump after this mushroom. Now you're going to come across the reinforced crate section, and basically you want to ignore the firefly. Go past the reinforced crates until you start collecting Wumpa fruits. When you reach the Wumpa fruit section, you want to jump to the right, then jump to the left, then jump to the right again, and then do a slide jump forward. Then, for the next section, you want to stay right and defeat the lizard that you can barely see because of the light. Then you want to head to the left and defeat the rat. And then you want to do a slide spin jump from the blue mushroom, and as long as you avoid this final firefly, congratulations, you just beat Totally Fly without using a single firefly. And you will also get the achievement,
Hello darkness, my old friend.
So once we finish our first dark challenge, we move on to the second level in Warp Room 4, Digging It. Starting with a time trial, we need to beat the level in under 2 minutes and 55 seconds. But thankfully, the time for this achievement is very generous, and as long as you keep moving and avoiding these explosive spitballs, we will get to the end in our first try and get dig with 31 seconds to spare. And as for the box gem, we have probably one of, if not my least favorite level that involves backtracking. And that's mainly due to the presence of a death route that not only has a bonus gem, but also boxes that are present not only in the death route, but also in the normal path as well. However, I think I employed a strategy that might be more practical, which is going to save you a lot of pain and suffering. When reaching the split, take the normal path and play until you reach the beehive before the electric fences. There should be a checkpoint on the other side. Instead of getting the checkpoint, backtrack to the death platform and complete the death route normally, getting all boxes and the bonus gem in said route. After exiting the death route, go back the normal path and backtrack all the way to the checkpoint. It should be noted that if you didn't get the crystal during the time trial, you will get it backtracking through here. I would also recommend you dig into this floor and take out the plants, which will make the return path a bit easier. And as for dealing with the bees, when you hear the bee sounds, stop moving and wait for the bee to come to you. Then spin away or slide or whatever you want to do to defeat it, and then continue on. Do not chance it, because most of the times you're going to get surprised by the bee and die instantly and suffer a severe allergy. But if you continue that, we're gonna get to the checkpoint, and once you hit this checkpoint, we have completed the backtracking section of the level. However, because I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, instead of replaying the level for a third time, after grabbing the box gem, I decided to backtrack all the way to the final checkpoint of the level and ground pound this plant on this platform, since this plant is guarding a secret exit. And basically my advice for the backtracking is basically the same as the previous backtracking. Defeat the plants if you must, and be careful with the bees. Take your time and do not do anything stupid. And by taking the secret exit, we will not only get Dig It Up, and as our final visit to the secret warp room, we can now collect the box gem for Road to Ruin. And unlike the path from Air Crash and Snow Go, this path is pretty easy. Just make sure to be careful with the hidden TNT and the stack of crates. But other than that, we'll just go through this very easy level and also very short level and get my City of Ruins, as well as straight out of the sewers for getting all clear gems in Warp Room 3. And with that, we move on to what is considered by many the hardest, the worst, the most obnoxious level in Crash Bandicoot 2, Cold Hard Crash, which has the highest box count, the most annoying backtracking, and the most stupid box placements you can possibly imagine.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, but this level is really not that bad. In fact, it's not even the worst. Ironically, I would even say it's actually one of my favorite levels in the game. But starting things off, we have the time trial, where we have a target of 3 minutes and 6 seconds. And this target is incredibly easy to get, especially if you use the death route as a shortcut, since by finishing the death route, you will not only get a bonus gem, but you'll also go outside of the cave and into the final portion of the level, skipping the entire cave area of the level, which I was able to complete and get the snow howling on my first try with almost an entire minute to spare. And as for the box gem, this one can be tricky, especially with the backtracking aspects of the death route, because what you need to do is get to the end of the death route, but instead of going down into the shaft where the bonus gem was, you want to hit this exclamation box to spawn extra boxes at the beginning, and then you want to backtrack all the way to the beginning and get the remaining boxes. But also, once you're done with the death route, you want to ride the platform back down to the normal path and then continue on with the level. But outside of the death route shenanigans, this level is really not that bad. Although this box in this cubby area can be a bit scary to get. Just make sure you hug the walls and jump over the box to break it. Oh, right, there's also this box in the bonus round, which is kinda difficult to see. But yeah, besides that, it's just a clear shot to the end with a couple of close calls. I'm dead. Oh my god. Wow. Whoa. Wow. Oh my god, I swear to god, if I died at the end, I was gonna flip off. I was gonna table flip, you know? And there we go, cold as ice. Moving on to Ruination, we have a target time of exactly 2 minutes. And at first I thought that this level was going to be some hidden challenge, since I did struggle with the Platinum Relic in the remake. Except that I got in the time of my ruin in only a couple of attempts. Which, yeah, basically shows that with the exception of Sooner or Later, Bear Down, and Totally Bear, the time trial achievements have been for the most part very easy. However, we then have the box gem, and this gem is really not that bad, especially considering that there's actually a green gem path that holds no boxes but a bonus gem. However, just like digging it, I decided to do something incredibly stupid and backtrack through the entire level after reaching the ending spot for the green gem path so that I can try to get the box gem and the bonus gem at the same time. And you'll never believe what happened. Alright. So, yes! Oh my god, thank you. So yeah, this is where the tilting platforms are. So yeah, I planned this correctly. Nice. Alright, now time for some shooting range. I missed. Twice. Oh my god, I wasted an opportunity. Wow, look at that. Okay, camera, why are you moving me? That is odd. Oh, crap. Oh my god, I missed. Okay. I did all of that all of that unnecessary backtracking only to die. Okay, you know what? But at the end of the day, I decided to just say screw it and just beat the level so I don't have to recollect the bonus gem. And I just went again and unsurprisingly get some war flashbacks because I said that these levels reminded me of of Sunset Vista. That's how it works, right? Yeah, I don't know. I was comparing this level, or these levels, to the Temple Ruins / Sunset Vista levels, and that's why I'm dying on this one that much, because it has the spirit of Sunset Vista, and it's haunting me, you know. But eventually, I managed to go through the whole level and get the nitro detonator on the first go, and make it to the end, getting Ruins. And with that, we move to the final level of Warp Room 4, Behaven, where we have a time trial of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. But also, we have our final color gem in this level, and because I didn't want to do the pointless route for the purple gem, I decided to get both the purple gem and the time trial on the same run. And after a bunch of, let's just say it, stupid deaths, you know what? I might as well just try to do the secret path with the purple gem. I'm dead. Yep. Wow, what is a hitbox? Ah, damn it. Ah, damn it! We get to this spot of the level and become suicidal and jump off the nitro crates that turn out to be fake. And once in this challenge route that is very similar to the Hunter section from Unbearable, we basically have to dodge bullets, nitros, and a bunch of crap that... Oh. The purple gem is right here. Okay then. That was definitely a thing that they also didn't change on the remake, so thanks for that, Vicarious Visions. You moved the red gem, but you could not move the purple gem to the end. Okay. Makes sense to me, you know? Especially considering the fact that in this route, there are no boxes whatsoever. So yeah, this whole side area is completely pointless to do, which is kind of sad, honestly. But after claiming the purple gem and a lot of more stupid deaths, and the good thing is that these tiki heads are more predictable because they move in a square pattern. And oh my god, yeah, I need to find a way to save that Aku Aku. We managed to get to the end in 2 minutes and 1 second and get Bumblebee, Sting Me, and Purple Heart, and get the final color gem of the game. And as for the box gem, as long as you avoid the bees by either getting out of the range or burrowing underground, this level is really not that bad. Although the electric fence part can be very scary if you're not good with the timing of the gates and the bees. That said, one thing you can do is perform a slide spin to get rid of the bees, but besides that, play it safe and we get to the end on our first try and get Bee in Your Bonnet, as well as Rocky Top for getting all clear gems in Warp Room 4. So before going to the boss, Cortex tells us that Embryo is responsible for the amount of enemies in the levels. Even though we already know that. And after that, he tells us to deliver the crystals to Engine, which for some reason decides to fight us instead of doing a peaceful exchange. And here's where we have our first and only boss challenge, where we have to defeat Engine without throwing more than 75 Wumpa Fruit. Now the fight against Engine is without question the best fight in Crash 2. No competition. And the way you fight him is by throwing Wumpa to the weak spots by pressing the square button. And as long as you don't spam the attack button, you'll get this achievement no problem. So yeah, basically we have to defeat Engine without throwing more than 75 Wumpa. Now, here's the thing. I'm not counting, so there you go. So, I don't know how much I've wasted. But, if I remember correctly, every single piece takes around 10 Wumpa to destroy. And Engine has 5 hits, so there is some leeway, essentially, it's what I'm saying. Oh, there we go. So phase 1 is done. Now we have the worst phase, and that's the missile one, because the hitbox can be very annoying. Or at the very least, this part of the fight. So yeah, for this part, I recommend you take your time. Oh, I got one. Nice. Okay, now we got phase, or I guess phase 4 technically, because now he's gonna throw a missile that's gonna go past the arena. Yeah, like that. And the problem is that, yeah, this missile can be kind of annoying to get. Oh! And yeah, that missile has a very large hitbox. Okay, so now we get the scariest phase, because, yeah, now we have to essentially be daredevilish and just shoot engine before he melts us. Although this phase doesn't take that long. Yeah, 5 hits. And there we go.
Will be very displeased with your resistance. Prepare to suffer his wrath.
Suffer his wrath, but this is but he's only striking back. We have to wait 2 games for the Wrath of Cortex. And if by any chance you fail to get this achievement, you can always refight Engine by holding triangle while moving between certain warp rooms, which is a feature that the game doesn't tell you about. So after defeating Engine, we get scolded by Cortex and get sent to gather the final 5 crystals. Starting things off with Piston It Away, where we have a time trial achievement of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Piston It Away is a very tricky level, but because we're playing the OG version of Crash 2, we can do this. Now thankfully, because it's the original game, we can abuse the Z-axis. And yes, I said Z, shut up. Because yeah, you cannot do this. You cannot do that in the Insane Trilogy. So yeah, you cannot do this in the Insane Trilogy. You cannot abuse the Z-axis. What the heck was that hitbox? Oh my god! I got my butt. Oh my god! Don't kill me. Okay, you can go backwards, sure. Oh no, death platform is out. Whatever will I do? Oh god. Oh, I went for it. I hesitated. Ishin will be is very disappointed. Okay. And there we go. Second try. Okay, that's not too bad. Also, yeah, 69 crates. Nice. Now as for the box gem, this one is a bit more tricky. Just like Cold Hard Crash, we have a death platform that contains boxes. However, instead of doing the same thing we did with Cold Hard Crash, in this level we have to ignore the death platform until we get every box on the normal path, where we basically need to play the level until we reach this spot with the nitros and the 1-up and this box. And after destroying this box, we have to backtrack and go into the death platform, which will give us a bonus gem plus the remaining boxes for the box gem. But unfortunately, you need to remember who's playing this game. I mean, it's basically a requirement to beat this level deathless, or at the very least, until you ride the death platform. And if you didn't... Okay then, that was definitely a hitbox. I am dead. I'm not dead, wow, look at that. And yeah, I'm gonna do the bonus stage on the way back. Wow, even Invincible, the shots move faster than me. That is pretty crazy. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Oh no! I knew it. Oh, the calamity. Oh, the humanity. You know, it's even. You know, this level's actually worse because if I die at the beginning, even though I'll have the achievement, it doesn't matter because I have to do a death. I have to ride a death platform. I'm dead. Yep. Okay. Let's take away the speedrun mentality. Oh. Oh, now it doesn't work. Okay, cool. Okay, that was definitely a hitbox. Yeah, if this was the insane trilogy, I would have died there. I was not even near that guy. Okay, fine. I did it again! Oh! Why does the floor abandon me when the piston goes away? I'm supposed to go with the piston, you know? That's how it works, right? It's not like Looney Tunes, where the piston goes away and Crash just remains in the air. Alright, you. You bastard. You killed me last time. Oh my god. And here's the box of all our troubles. So yeah, we have to destroy this box, and then we gotta backtrack to the death route. Okay, now this part. So, a lot of people think, oh my god, this part is impossible. I can't go here without dying. Well, you can spin the projectiles. Which yeah, to this day, a lot of people still don't know you can actually do that. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can do this both in the original and the insane version. Oh my god. Okay. I am dead. Yep. Well, that sucks. Subscribe to make my pain go away. I don't know. Alright, let's focus. I'm pretty sure you can actually go back by just doing a slight spin jump instead of jumping on the octopus. Oh my god, I almost died in the same spot again. No, what am I doing? Just... fuck it. Okay, you can. Okay, yeah, it is possible. The ladder being a very easy option. Or the more practical solution. Are you fucking serious? Oh my god. Well, at the very least, we have the confirmation that dying in a bonus stage does not null the achievement. So that's actually good to know. Oh, thank god. Okay. Okay, here's where I died. There we go. Oh my god, okay. Oh! What the hell? How did I survive? 69. Yes! Oh, thank god. Oh, thank god we did. Okay. Cool. The Piston Cub. Haha, very funny. So after that debacle, we move to Rocket, where we get our final new gimmick in Crash 2, the jetpack, which a lot of people hate just because it's a bitch to control. I mean, you already know what I'm going to say, so let's just try to beat this level in less than 1 minute and 41 seconds. So the strategy for the jetpack levels is to just gun it until you reach certain obstacles that require you to stop, look, and then go. Like these lasers or cables and these mecha scientists that you need to defeat the same way as the scientists from the lab back in Crash 1. Oh yeah, these guys. Wow, that was close. Oh no! Damn it. Also, I will say that I do prefer this song in the insane version. Oh my god, I got blown up. Okay then. I can just get stuck on the freaking wall. Okay, fine. Okay, L1 you go backwards. Okay. I'm learning as we go, people. We're learning as we go. Oh my god. So stupid. Whoa. Okay. Oh. Damn it. Yeah, that was the end. Yeah, I will say that when you rush, these levels are really not that bad. Also, if memory serves me well, you can actually combo the scientists. One way to find out, and that way was not correct. I almost died again. Oh man, that was awesome. Ah. Okay, yeah, these cables can be absolutely annoying. And I died again in the same way. Oh. Why am I terrible at games? These are questions that not even the universe can resolve. Alright. Oh my god, no. Okay, we did it. Thank God. Okay, we finally did it. But after clearing the time trial, we go for the box gem, and as long as you take your time, this one becomes one of the easiest levels to get the box gem deathless. Although, like I said, if you don't learn the controls fast enough, you're gonna have a bad time. And I believe that's the only TNT in these jetpack levels, which is kind of weird. Yeah, the fact that there's only one TNT in these types of levels. So yeah, you cannot get past those guys, because even if you do, you have to get past the wall of fire. So, you know. And there we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And with that, we move on to Night Fight, our second dark level, and just like Totally Fly, we have 3 achievements. For the time trial, I decided to take the death route since there is a bonus gem we can get along the way. And just like Totally Fly, as long as you keep moving forward and don't stall, you'll get Enter the Darkness no problem. And as for the box gem, we take the normal path and make sure you backtrack at the fork for 2 boxes that are located on the death route. And there we go. I said, make sure you backtrack at the fork for 2 boxes on the death route, and then we can earn our box gem, Your Precious Moon, and go back into the darkness for the No Firefly achievement. At the start of the level, you want to continue on until you reach this point where the ground goes into darkness. Right after entering the darkness, you want to slide spin jump to the right. After that, jump for the mushroom trio and then kill this rat. After you pass this lone mushroom, you want to slide spin jump. Kill the rat and then jump for an Akuaku. Whoa! Whoa! You want to stick to the right and then jump for a rat that you can barely see due to the lighting. Then you want to continue on and you want to kill 2 rats. After killing the second rat, jump for the first checkpoint. After jumping over the pit you can see from the light, slide jump for the mushrooms and stay to the right. This is the point where you will actually go for the normal path instead of the death route path. You can try to do the death route path, but for this guide we're going to be using the normal path. Then you want to kill 2 lizards and then jump from these mushrooms. After that point, it is a straight path through this UFO section. After the UFO section, you want to jump to the right before the mushroom bunch. Then you want to jump after the UFO trio so you can get the crystal and the second checkpoint. After avoiding this next UFO, kill a lizard and then jump from this mushroom. And for this section, you want to jump after crossing the UFO, but for this section, you want to jump before reaching the UFO. Now, just like Totally Fly, don't go into the bonus round. At this point, you want to jump over the nitro and then go left before the UFO. Once you get to this point, we're now in the area where the 2 paths converge. So if you decide to do the death route or the normal path, it doesn't matter because now you're doing the rest of the level. Continuing on from the convergence, you want to jump over the mushroom bunch. Stay to the left and hit the 3rd and final checkpoint. And you want to make sure you stay on the left until you kill a lizard. After killing the lizard, go right and then kill another lizard. And then you want to continue on, and once you reach this square that I'm standing on right now, you want to slide spin jump, and if you avoid this last firefly, congratulations, you just beat Night Fight without using a single firefly, and got the achievement Darkness of the Unknown. And so we head to our final non-platforming level, Pack Attack, which is our second jetpack level. And just like Rocket, the time trial and box gems are not that terrible, although just like Rocket, I got handled by this level while doing the time trial. Whoa. Wait. Ah! Crap. Oh, man, that's funny. Oh my god. Oh no! I got cocky. I forgot about the lasers. Oh! If it's not the lasers, it's the freaking cable. God damn it. Come on. Go! Yes! Alright. Okay, we still have time. As Mr. Incredible would say, we still have time. And 20. Okay, yeah, I'm actually curious. And hopefully not miss a box like a moron. Because, yeah, I remember I played this level once and I missed a box somewhere. In fact, I think it was this guy right here. Yeah, those guys are not as punishing as the guys from the scientists from the lab in Crash 1. Honestly, thank God, because yeah, those guys are kind of annoying. And bonk. What? Man, I keep forgetting the room layouts or the order of the rooms. Although, to be fair, I do have an Aquaku, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, yeah, I did backtrack to see if I missed a box. Well, moment of truth. Okay, good. And boom. Jetpack kicks. So here we are, the final level of the game, Spaced Out, where we have 2 more clear gems and 1 more time trial achievement. And for this level, what I'm going to do is get the time trial achievement and crystal on the same run so that I can get access to the final boss. And after beating the game, I'll return for the clear gems as well as a true ending of the game, because it's a Crash game, of course it's a true ending. So starting things off, we have the time trial where we need to beat this level in under 1 minute and 47 seconds. So what I'm gonna do for this level is, I'm gonna do the exact same thing I did in the, damn it. I did in the Let's Play, where I'm going to... I'm gonna just finish the level and then I'm gonna get the crystal. Actually... No! Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, just do this. Yeah, this needs to be more effective. What the heck was that bounce? Okay, that definitely was a hitbox. There we go. That's what I should have done. Oh, and I... The same guy. Crash, what are you doing? Wait, I think it was 126. I know, 147. Yes! I dream into outer space. And there we go. That is all the time trials. So now we just have to get the last box gems. And we're done. So after collecting the final crystal, we get the reveal that Cortex was going to use the crystals for evil.
No way!
I didn't see that coming. So now it's time for the final battle against Dr. Ned Cortex once again, where we have to prevent him from reaching his space station with the crystals. And the best way to do so is by equipping our trusty jetpack and chase him down. So for this fight, you have to master the jetpack controls, since this fight is timed, because if Cortex reaches this blue portal, he will reach his space station and you'll automatically lose. And basically, you have to get near him without bumping into these meteors or space mines that for some reason don't hurt you, which is kind of odd. Alright, final boss, let's go. So basically, you have to chase Cortex and hit him and spin into him 3 times. Also, this fight is timed. If you take too long, you lose. But yeah, this fight is incredibly easy.
You haven't seen the last of me, Crash Bandicoots!
And after 3 hits, we'll beat the game, not acquire the Crash Dash, unlike the Insane Trilogy, and achieve Perfect Enemy, and we get to watch the normal ending. But even though we defeated Cortex, Coco makes the remark that his space station is still orbiting the planet, which means that we have won the battle, but not the war. So now what we have to do is go back into Spaced Out and acquire the final clear gems. The first clear gem we'll go for is the Color Gem Trial, where you need to collect all 5 color gems to make it to the end and get a gem for beating an intense platforming challenge, something that would get even more extreme in future Crash games. But after acquiring our gem, we drop into the void and begin our final deathless box gem for Crash 2. Now I have to say, for being the final level of the game, this level was surprisingly easier than the first level of this warp room, Piston It Away. Great. Okay, you're supposed to do the opposite. Okay, so yeah, you can't actually spin the you can't actually destroy the projectiles even from above, which is always something that throws me off, because I swear that you cannot do that in the Insane Trilogy. And that's it. So yeah, overall, this level is surprisingly, for being the final level, surprisingly, this is easier than Piston It Away. But after getting our final box gem, we get Space Rock as well as Cosmos for getting all clear gems in the final warp room. And once we gather all the gems, we get contacted by Embryo, which will teleport us to his laser installation, which, with the power of the gems, we can fire a laser and destroy not only the Cortex Vortex, but also destroy Cortex's space station, which will give us the craziest diamond by getting the true ending of the game, giving us a full mastery of Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Alright, so here we go on the grid. So let's not waste any more time and let's talk some stats. Starting with the difficulty, I'll give this game an 8. The box gem achievements are definitely more challenging than most levels from Crash 1, and even though most levels are or feel shorter than the levels from the first game, they did raise the difficulty of these levels. And because future levels require you to use the slide or slide jump, the level design gets more challenging, not to mention that the space levels and even the digging levels can be kinda difficult. Not to mention that we also have the time trials where you have to perfect your knowledge of the levels and optimize a route that will get you the fastest to the exit. And as for fun with this set, I will also give it an 8. Compared to Crash 1, I had a more chill time, and even though I spent a lot of time trying to get certain achievements, I was still on a clear headspace compared to Crash 1's Sunset Vista and Luigi's Mansion's Hidden Mansion. Now, even though I didn't use this stat for the archive video, I decided to introduce a brand new stat for this grid section called Quality, where I will rate the quality of the set overall. Now, even though this stat says quality, the main thing I'm rating for this are the amount of miscellaneous achievements that the sets have. For example, because Crash 1 and Cyber Chase don't have a lot of extra challenge achievements, I gave them a lower score when it came to the extra stuff there is to the set. But as you can see by Luigi's Mansion, I gave it a higher score due to the amount of miscellaneous achievements that this set has. And sets like Luigi's Mansion are the reason I adore this website. So as for Crash 2, I'll give the set an overall quality of a 7. I was thinking of giving it a 6, but the time trials are not as obnoxious as the Platinum Relics from Crash 3. That said, outside of the time trials, there is nothing that spectacular, with the exception of the Polar Easter egg and the Engine Boss achievement, which besides that, those are the only miscellaneous stuff they added. In fact, I'm just gonna say this right now, without the time trial achievements, I would have probably give this a 4, just because the extra stuff was very minute and the Deathless Challenge is not going to save the set. And finally, we have the Hardest achievement, which had a lot of contenders, believe it or not, but I'm giving the title to Bear the Burden, which is the time trial for Bear Down. Just because out of all the time trials, this was the most strict one to get. And even though I spent around 20 minutes on Piston It Away, I still think Bear Down's time trial achievement was more difficult. Even though I still prefer Crash 1, Crash 2 is in the same place as Tomb Raider 3, where the more I play it, the more I like it. But overall, I feel that some level design is just worse than Crash 1, to the point that I would even call it the worst level design in the Crash trilogy. Yes, I'm dead serious. But at the end of the day, revisiting this game for this mastery did boost up my enjoyment of this game. And I can see myself replaying this game more often. A huge thanks to F. Burn Castel Q's for making this set and making me appreciate this amazing sequel once again. And now that we're done with Crash Bandicoot 2, well, you already know what's next. Well, the good news is that a new set has been mastered. The bad news is that I now have to tackle Crash 3 if I want to continue with the Crash series. Yay. But I'm going to save my descent into the void of insanity when I tackle that game for my 8th mastery video. And this is video 4, so... oh boy, I cannot wait. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching this new RetroAchievements Masteries video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and share it with Crash Bandicoot friends, or even Retro or RetroAchievement friends. And if you want to stay tuned for more RetroAchievements content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notified on more achievement mastery greatness. And of course, if you want to check my full mastery playthrough, you can always check my Wolf Archives channel, where I will be posting all RetroAchievement playthroughs and livestream VODs when I start streaming, which I'll do my very first livestream for Crash 3's Platinum Relics. So you can see my slow descent into madness trying to collect these annoying Platinum Onks. And if you have a game in mind that you would like to see me get mastered someday, let me know in the comments, but make sure that it's not Tomb Raider because I'll tackle that series next year for the franchise's 30th anniversary. So yeah, Tomb Raider is not going to happen until next year, so just to put that in stone so that I don't have to repeat that every single time. But yeah, with that said, pretty short outro because yeah, this video is really freaking long. This video is going to be freaking long, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's longer than Luigi's Mansion. But with that in mind, that's all I got for you today. Thank you all for watching. I'm Jonathan Wolf, and I will see you all in my next mastery. Take it easy, everyone.